Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Leilu Nishmas Chaim Mordechai. So I wanted to show you these pictures the other day of Reb Menachem Toporowitz, who was nifter at the very, very young age of 39. Here he is in Shir, in MDY, in the Beis Medrash. And here's a picture of him all the way on the right, the son in Miami. He came to the Miami Siyum, so the Shama should have an Aliyah. Good vach Rebelli. I'm super pumped after attending the amazing scene from Sotah Nazar arranged by Dov Harris Thursday evening, Golders Green, London. It's great Ashpa by Shabbos. I'm still buzzing. It was amazing to see people of all ages, walks of life. The fact that 3 teenagers from different backgrounds were honored made it even more special. Been on and off. Good vach Yitzchak Grunhout. These Gishmaka book stands, picture attached, were given out for free at yesterday's Siyum and are being put to good use. Not sure who sponsored those souvenirs, but Yishkoyach. This is a picture of the Siyum of Manchester. That's not how many people learned it out of Manchester. In the Siyum that I was there in Manchester, there was over 350 people. They are a big force. LeAliyat is supposed to set up a free Gemara stand in the Merkaz, that's in RBS, on Friday afternoon, together with Taki and my son Shua. Things were going a bit slowly. Most of the target crowd, Inglos, appeared to be in Chul already, until Aaron Kempf and his children showed up. With absolutely no shame and tremendous azus de gedusha, Aaron approached nearly every person who passed us and gave each one a sales pitch that spoke directly to the individual Shama with a healthy dose of Jewish guilt. At the end, we were fortunate enough to be able to recruit between 8 and 10 people in an hour and a half. Pictured here with us is one of the recruits, Yeshua Hollander from Nachal Rivim. The most touching moment of the day came when one guy we recruited came back to us 5 minutes after taking leave with his free Gemara. I assumed that he was having second thoughts and wanted to give us back the Gemara. Instead, with tears in his eyes, he said to us, I was already back in my car and ready to go home, but I just wanted to come back and say thank you so much for doing this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We have the opportunity to change people's lives every day. All it takes is some sincerity, some free Gemaras, and a little bit of chutzpah. Tremendously honored to be a small part of this ever-growing family. Shamshi is Shamshi Shlafrak, an amazing Talmud Chacham, and he comes every day to shir. I love when he comes. So Yishkoyach Shamshi. Here he is. Shamshi's the one right by the sign. I don't know if you can see him, but okay. The one holding the blue Gemara. That's Shamshi. I'm a 5th grader from Brooklyn. I was told by my friend about MDY. I will soon get my free Gemara, and I'm really excited. I'm starting to listen to the Daf Yomi and learn the whole Sotah. Yisrael Peretz Weissman. So today I was in BCDE, shul here in Lincolnwood, and a 9-year-old kid, David Ray's son, Yale Ray's grandson, comes over to me in the middle of davening. He says, I wanted to tell you that I really enjoy watching your shir. I'm like, are you 9 years old? Like, it's unbelievable. Like the word, how it came out is like they came over to me afterwards to thank me again. He's doing brachas, he's doing Sotah, he's all over shots. This 9-year-old, unbelievable. Okay, the Koilo, we're up to the sponsors already. Anonymous from Lakewood for the month. The Koilo sponsor for the second one. Reuben Klein, in honor of my daughter Lisa becoming a Kala. The Tzvi Chaim native from Toronto. The Masechta, sponsored by no one. The Paras HaChodesh, Leilu Nishmas Chaim Elefant, Chaim and Ya'akov Shmuel Zechariah, another young guy that was nifter in Los Angeles by Westside friends. Paras HaChodesh, Leilu Nishmas Zechariah ben Moshe. Paras HaChodesh, the MDY Family, Leilu Nishmas Chaim Oren Ben, ybl'c Eliyahu. Paras HaChodesh, Leilu Nishmas Chaim Bas Yosef. Paras HaShavua, Vladislav Zakharov, and Zchut that graduated this May. Paras HaYom, Marc Hanfling, Leilu Nishmas his father Tzvi ben Mordechai and his 9th yurtziet, and by Avrumy Lebovitz, one of the first guys to hook up on YouTube every single morning 4 years ago. Leilu Nishmas, my dear father, Reb Yisroel Lebovitz, Reb Yisroel, Reb Yitzchak, actually 5 years ago. Ya'artzeit Yud Nisan, and by Phil Birn, Phil, in honor of the yurtziet of Dana Pagonitz. Devorah Sarah Bat Moshe. What's the story there? What are you? Sham should have an Aliyah. Start of the month for complete refuah for Chaim Tzvi Ben Leah. Westside, we have amazing sugya. We're starting to get into the Agadta. So, Sotah. Husband warns her not to seclude herself. That's called kinui. Then she secludes herself with that individual. It's called stira. how long does it last, that stira, in order for it to be a full stira? So the Gemara gets into some very technical things in order to determine the time. And part of the time has to do, there's a psychological component, there's a physical component. And in fact, if you look at Taisus, the top Taisus says here, Kol elin shiurin achar hataras sinar. We're not even talking about the clothing component. But you have to take everything into consideration. There's a physical act, and to get to that act, there's certain things that have to take place. Says the Gemara, V'kama shir stira, the first words on top of the Avdalad Amud Aleph. How long does this last? You see a very, very interesting sugya. There are 9 shitas, and the Gemara tells us on Amud Beis, they all have to do with their individual experience. What was the quickest time they were able to get to the beginning of the act? That's it. What's the quickest? And the Gemara gives us these very interesting shiurim. Instead of saying 1 minute, 3 minutes, 10 minutes, to run around the tree, to do this, to do that. Very interesting. The Gemara starts off, also very interesting. 4 things. Kedei tuma, that she should be tamei. In other words, there's an act. Which means, kedei bia, kedei hara, the initial part of the act. Not the entire act, just the one moment. Kedei hakavas dekel. And that is the shear. What is the shear? To go around the tree, a palm tree. Interesting. Divrei Reb Yisroel. So shita number 1 is to go around a palm tree. What is going to ask? So just say it, to go around the palm tree. What are you saying? Kedei biya, kedei hara. Say kedei tuma, kedei hakavas dekel. You can take out some of the things in the middle, and the Gemara is going to say each one comes and tells a chiddush. Relez oimer kedei mezigas hakois. Mezigas hakois. As long as it takes, in the time of the Gemara, they had very, very strong wine. They would dilute it with water, 1/3, whatever it is. So I just want to show you real quickly this chart right over here. There's some of the shitas, not all 9, but just to be familiar with it. So right now we have Brisa number 1. It says that Reb Eliezer says, "Kedei mezigas hakos." As long as it takes you, how long does it take to take a glass of wine, which is a revius, the minimum share, and add some water to it, mix it up, however long that takes. Okay. In the Brisa number 2, there's another Brisa the Gemara is going to bring. It says the same man Reb Eliezer. Instead of saying mezigas hakos, he goes with a completely different thing. The time it takes the palm tree to go back and forth in the wind. Again, I mean, these are shiurim, like I don't know how it helps people, but okay, that's the shiur. Next shita. Reb Yisroel Omer, kedei l'shtoisai. How long does it take to drink or revius of wine? Yeah? Before I forget, I don't want to forget this. I didn't write it down, so I don't want to forget it. Reb Moshe Sternbuch says an amazing thing. I thought it was a phenomenal thing. Leila Seder. He says the number 1 important thing about the wine is not what color, is not what, if it's wine or not wine. The number 1 thing he says, and that everybody should be makbid, is they should enjoy it. Do not drink wine that you can't stand. It's better, he says, I couldn't believe it, better to drink grape juice than wine that you don't enjoy. Enjoy the wine. I'm not going to say the name of the brand. You know what I'm talking about. Don't get that brand because it's easier to gulp down. Or you must, he says, number 1, I'm serious, I couldn't believe it. Grape juice. Who says grape juice is okay? Drink grape juice and not a wine that you don't enjoy, because that is the number 1 important thing at the Leilu Seder. Take that to the Leilu Seder. The number 1 wine that I enjoy, I think a lot of people know the brand, but I just can't do 4 cups out of it. And maybe that's what he's saying. Like, you enjoy 1, 2, but by the time you get to the 4th cup, it's so heavy, so I have to go down. Me personally, I should downgrade to something much lighter and something I enjoy. Because Because at that point, I'm not enjoying it. Cup 4 with that good stuff, I don't enjoy anymore. And I'm not yurtziet according to him. I thought it's fascinating. Moshe Sternbach, Ein Sham. Okay. Because we're talking about wine here. How long does it take you to drink the wine? Now, if you look at the screen, on the right side it says Kedei l'shtoisa in purple. Same Reb Yisroel says Kedei mezigas hakais. What's going on here? Okay, let's keep on going. Benazai yoimer Kedei litzlis beitza. Benazai, as the Gemara is going to point out, was never married. So how could he tell us from his personal experience how long it takes? It's a very good kasha. Some say that he was married, as the Gemara is going to say. He was married to Rebbe Akiva's daughter. But he certainly was younger than Rebbe Akiva, a Talmud of Rebbe Akiva, and he's brought before Rebbe Akiva because it goes in order. Kedei litzleis beitza. As long as it takes to roast an egg. Rebbe Akiva oimer kedei legama. Rebbe Akiva was either his father-in-law or maybe even certainly his Rebbe, but maybe his father-in-law comes second after this and says, listen, your roasted egg, I'm saying as long as it takes to eat that roasted egg. These are all different shiurim. I'm not exactly sure which one is shorter, which one is longer. I don't know. 3 eggs.
It does seem to be almost chronological how much time it takes.
Maybe. Could be. So we have to be machmir maybe with the shorter shear, because we're talking about somebody's life here or somebody's embarrassment. If she was nister, I don't know how long it takes for the branch to go poof poof in the wind. You're talking about seconds here. Okay. So if you take a look at the chart for a second, Review the Menachem says 3 eggs, but in the second Bryce he says 1 egg. Legoima 1 egg. Okay. We're always going to talk about all this. That's pretty much Amud Aleph, and then we get into the serious Agadata. Gardi Nemo. So here is one of these, it's a big thing back in the day to weave. And a weaver is a pro at tying the string, because I'm assuming in those days they didn't have very long threads, and there was constantly the issue of tying. He's a pro. He's a better tyer than you and I. So it's a lot quicker. However long it takes him, he has to grab the 2. I guess it's hard. You have to take 2 ends with 2 hands and also make the knot. Okay. Chanan ben Pinchas oimer kedei shetoshit yodel tichpia lital kisam. This is not a mushal. This is serious. They used to use toothpicks, and for a woman who's better at it, I guess, than a man, to pull out a toothpick that she has stuck between her teeth. It could be there's some sort of meaning behind it. As the Gemara is going to say soon, these shiurim there's like a little hint. The words that they're using here are hinting to some sort of maisa. I don't know. As long as it takes a person to stick their hand into the basket and pull out a bread, which the Gemara is going to ask these interesting questions. What kind of bread? Is it soft? Is it hard? Is the basket smooth? Not smooth? Teiku. We've seen in a pasuk ki be'adi shezoina ad kikar lechem. The pasuk doesn't mention anything about taking out a bread from a basket. But you see the idea of znus and bread in the same pasuk, so there's some sort of hint that's the shear. The shear is as long as it takes to pull out the bread from the basket. As Gemara Chalane Lamali, all the way in the beginning we said, what's the shear? The shear is kedei tuma. That's not enough. Kedei bia, not enough. Kedei ara, not enough. Kedei hakafas dekel. Kedei, so say whatever it is. Why do you have to say 4 things? Says Gemara, tzrichi tana kedei tuma. If we just say tuma, have amino kedei tumasa v'artzusa. Artzusa is to be meratz the other person. There's a psychological component here. You can't just go and do an act. You have to be ready for it. And that takes time also. So you think that the shear that we're talking about is both? No, we're not talking about the psychological. That you'll take care of before you stepped into the room. Maybe it already happened. Once they go in, they're ready to go. And how long does that take? Bia means the full act. No, it's just the initial part. So Rashi explains in the beginning, we also said that Artutsa is not a part of it. Now we're saying again Artutsa. But I would think that Hara, just the initial part, listen, it doesn't make sense. Just that part. Maybe it means together with, what's the word? I don't like the word they use. Entice to get ready. Now, what is the shear? What does it mean, hara? How long does that take? As long as it takes a human being to go around a tree. You're talking about a few seconds. Oh. So now the Gemara says, wait a minute. We have a brisa that brings all these shittas. We just had 9 different shiurim, and most of them are in this brisa in a completely different way. What's going on here?
That's not Rabbi Shmuel.
What?
That's not Rabbi Shmuel today. What we said now is just Rabbi Shmuel Shita, not the other ones.
Yeah. We're picking one. It says, hara, how much is that? The first shita. The first shita is dekel. Okay? And then you fill in the gap. We're not going to go through all 9 shitas now. Vermini v'nistir of akamashir stiro. Lo shamanu. Says in the Torah that she secluded herself. But how long? Is it 2 hours, 5 minutes? Shoymer v'hinitma. It says in the pasuk that there was tuma. There was a maisa. So over here it says all 4 lashonos, but the 4th lashon is different. It doesn't say hakaf as dekel to go around the tree. It says for the tree to come back, for the palm tree to come back. Reb Eliezer, it's the same Reb Eliezer that talks about a palm tree. Now it's coming back. Now let's look at the chart side by side. Now we're in brisa number 2. Kedei mezigas hakais, to take wine and dilute it. What did he say before? The time it takes to drink the revius. We know from Lela Seder, we drink a revius. We try to do it in one shot. How long does it take? 10 seconds. I don't know how long it takes. Not very long. It's not a minute.
The difference between the two is not that great.
That's right. We're talking about seconds here, but we're going to take somebody's life here. We have to know the seconds. Whether we're taking her life or we're embarrassing her to the point that it's like taking her life. It's not to dilute it, it's to drink it. Now look at Ben Azai here. Ben Azai here, and it's done very well here. I didn't do this, Yoshi did this. Look at the 2 purples. Rabbi Shua on the right side says Kedei l'shtoisa in purple. Ben Azai says Kedei l'shtoisa in purple. Now that's a big problem. Because now the two Tanaim are saying the exact same thing. That makes no sense. The Gemara is going to tell us that they don't say the same thing. Yeah? You like the chart? It's good so far? But you see the purple, it's very clear. I also have here Ben Azai saying Kedei litzlis beitza on the right, and Rebbe Kiva saying Kedei litzlis beitza. 2 yellows. What are they doing here? Okay. Ben Azai Kedei l'shtoisa, Rebbe Kiva Kedei litzlis beitza. Which is not good, because Rebbe Kiva said before, the time it takes to eat an egg, and now he's saying you're right. It seems like it's going in chronological order, that Kedei Litzlis should take a lot longer than going around the tree and everything else. To eat the egg, and here again, Rebbe Kiva said Kedei L'Gaima and like orange, and here, and Rebbe Yisroel says Kedei L'Gaima also the same shear. Says Gemara, Rebbe Lezer started off saying going around the tree, and then it's Chazar Dekel. Maybe he meant to come back to the same point. Maybe it's the same shear. Also, Rebbe Shmuel Kedei Yaakov Dekel, Upali Rebbe Lezer Alei. Rebbe Shmuel says Yaakov is not Dekel, and Rebbe Lezer argues. So you see that it's not the same thing. Which one is it? One is to go around the tree, and one is that the wind blew the palm tree, the branch this way, and it came back. What does this mean exactly? It means that the branch went to the right and came back to the left. It went to the right, went to the left, and then came back to the center where it belongs. So that's even a longer shear. Teku. So, I forgot how you say his name. Lord Jonathan Sachs, that's how you say it. Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs, exactly. He said once that before he became a rabbi, this makes a lot of sense in England, they had to give him a stress test. They told him, you got to go on the treadmill, you have to do the thing, like a president. You can't just become the rabbi. So he's on the treadmill, and he's asking the doctor while he's like huffing and puffing. He says, what am I doing here? You want to see how fast I could go, how long it could last? What do you try? So the doctor says, neither. We want to see, when you get off the treadmill, how long it'll take your body to come back to itself. So he said, this is, I'm just saying because, the branch goes back, forth, comes back to the center, back to itself. He said, sometimes HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives people an assignment. He's not interested to see so much how they act at the assignment, at a loss or whatever, how they act, because people act certain way. He wants to see how you're going to bring yourself back to normal. How long does it take you to, what's the word? Recalibrate, recuperate. How long does it take? Some people last in their Nisayan forever. Some people come out of it very quickly. That's what he said. Okay, interesting idea. So let's go back to the chart. Top one. Reb Eliezer said in the first brisa to pour, to mix, to dilute the wine, and then he says for the branch to come back. Says the Gemara, that's a good answer. Okay, listen, I can say it in different ways. I mean the same thing. Kedei Mizikas HaKais takes 15 seconds. Kedei Chazar Sedekel takes 15 seconds. One day I use this mashal, one day I use that. It's all the same. I didn't change my sheet. My sheet is the same. 15 seconds, for instance. Says the Gemara, also Reb Yisroel Lebovitz, second one on the line, the purple. As long as it takes to drink the revias. In order to dilute it. Says the Gemara, no, I'm not going to say that that's the same thing. What I'm going to tell you is, it's both. So Reb Yisroel, you got to take both of them. The purple and the red, if the purple takes 10 seconds and the red takes 10 seconds, it's 20 seconds. Why don't you say, like we said by Reb Eliezer, that it's the same thing, you just use different mashal. It's the same time. It's only 10 seconds, but sometimes he used Kedei Lishtei, sometimes he says Kedei Mizikas HaKais. Imkein, Hainu Reb Eliezer. Reb Eliezer says Mizikas HaKais. Look in the top right. So you can't say that he said either or. Reb Yisroel couldn't say the same exact thing as Reb Eliezer. If he just said it's the red, then he's saying exactly Reb Eliezer. So he has to say the red and the purple together, whatever shear that is. In the first brisa, he said it says as long as it takes to roast an egg. As long as it takes to drink the revius. Okay. Now, what about Ben Azai? He says only to drink. Is he similar to Reb Yisroel that says to drink? No, because Reb Yisroel says to drink and to dilute, as we said before. What are you doing? One, in the first brisa, Rebbe Kiva says, in order to the shears to eat an egg. And now he says to roast an egg. So says the Gemara, like you said before, you have to combine the two things. It's a double shear. As long as it takes to roast an egg, and then the long it takes to eat the egg. So why don't we say the simple answer that's the same exact shear? It doesn't mean both of them together, it means one or the other. Okay, now Ben Azai. Look, Ben Azai also says Kedei Litzis Beitza, and he's by himself. So you have to say Ben Azai said the shear is to roast an egg. And Rebbe Kiva argues him, yes, to roast an egg, but also to eat the egg. So he's much longer than Ben Azai. I know he has the whole thing going there. Is this better? I don't know. Huh. Yeah, I see this. Interesting stuff. Now next. Oh, we should have done this as we were going. I got this Motzei Shabbos, guys, so I'm doing it together with you. Oh, you see? So it's very interesting. Sometimes this equals that. Sometimes it's together. Rebbe Kiva says, is based on ula. That's together. You have to need both. That's what we just did. Now, Rebbe Yisroel says, this is based on ula. Shalish beitzim. Okay. Now this is where we're at. Also, Rebbe Yisroel says, he says this year is to eat 3 eggs. Only one. Which one is it? He says, he's talking to Rebbe Kiva. Rebbe Kiva says roasting and eating the egg. So he tells him, why are you telling me two different shiurim? It's very confusing, he tells him. To roast an egg and to eat an egg. Just tell me how many eggs to eat. Let's take one thing and tell me that one thing. Is it 3 eggs? 3 eggs. Why are you telling me to roast an egg and to eat an egg? It's all over the place. Okay.
Doesn't it include the time to peel it?
No. Just to eat it. That's Taisa says. Taisa says we're not including clothing or anything. So when it comes to that, we're not including peeling. So says the Gemara, what does it mean to tie a thread? Is it far away, close? Teiku. The time that takes to take out a toothpick from your mouth, or splinter, and those they didn't have toothpicks, they had like pieces of wood, splinters of wood. The mahadik is stuck tight between her teeth. Not teiku, takes an extra millisecond. Go put your hand into the basket. The mahadik is it stuck in the basket or it's easy. Bechata by tika is the basket used so it's smoother or it's older. It's older so it's smoother and newer is not as smooth. Chamima, bikrira, what kind of bread are you talking about? Hot, cold. If it's hot, it's a little soft and it's harder to grab. Daf Amud Beis. B'dechiti or b'desari, we're talking about wheat or barley. What are we talking about? Wheat is a little bit softer, so harder to get out. Berchicha, b'kusha, is it hard or soft? Teiku. Oh, start the recording. And it's not slacha of Arilei ben Eliza Simcha. The members of the HBA group and their families, amen. Reb Yitzchak bar Yosef Reb Yisroel. Kol echad ve'echad. All 9 of these shiurim that we just heard, the Atzmai shiur. He's talking about his own experience, how quickly he was able to get to the beginning of that. Ask the Gemara what's going on here. One of the people there is the famous Gemara that says that when Azai said, why don't you get married? He says, Chashka nafshi b'Torah, nafshi chashka b'Torah. I'm so involved in learning, I can't do it. Let other people be mekayim the mitzvah. So how in the world can Ben Azai discuss a topic and a subject that has no experience in? No, he was married to maybe Rebbe Kiva's daughter, and he got divorced. He heard this from his Rebbe. Now, this is a problem because Rebbe Kiva was his Rebbe, so he had other Rebbeim. Right? And Reb Akiva and him argue. You see in the chart, they're not saying the same thing. Oh, here, Reb Akiva came. You want to see it again? Here, let me do it again. Reb Yisroel was talking about in Reb Akiva. Oops, knocked it away. Great. Great. Reb Yisroel himself says 1 egg. He's saying you, Reb Akiva, you should have said 3 eggs. Very nice. Great job, Yoshi. Okay. Says the Gemara. Hashem gives tzaddikim the secret, and that he was just saying over what we got beside. Okay, there are 2 stories. First of all, the famous Chazon Ish. There's in Paradar it says that the Chazon Ish was once asked about a certain surgery, should do it, not do it. So the Chazon Ish took out a piece of paper, drew a picture of a brain or something, and he said the surgeon should go in from here and there and do it like this. He showed that the surgeon couldn't believe. In other words, in the Gemara, in Torah, you have a lot, everything, and Hashem gives it to the people that understand. They understand. It's not a story about a Rebbe. Yeah, it's what's a Shabbos story about a Rebbe. The Chazan came to the Rebbe. He said, "Should I buy this in this forest? I want to buy a forest." He says, "No, don't buy it." But I want to buy it. He says, "No." So he bought it. Bought the forest, and turns out that all the trees were very wormy, and it wasn't good tree. It wasn't good stuff. Comes back to the Rebbe crying, "Rebbe, I didn't listen to you. I bought the forest. It's full of worms. What should I do?" So the Rebbe said, "I told you. I knew. You knew you shouldn't buy it." He says, "You knew that it's full of worms. How come you didn't tell me?" So he says, "I didn't know it's full of worms. I just knew you shouldn't buy it. I told you not to." He said, how did you know? So he said, "Listen, you came here and you kept on saying, I'm going to buy it, I'm going to make money, I'm going to sell, I'm going to buy for cheap, sell for more." You didn't say one time that Be'ezras Hashem it's going to work. You said you were going to do it. I knew. I had a feeling. In other words, sometimes G'daylim Tzadikim, they have this intuition. Side Hashem L'Reya, certain side, a certain way that they think that we don't have. Dorash Rav Avira Zimnin Omar Le Mishmei de Rabbi Zimnin Omar Le Mishmei de Rabasi. Rav Avira heard this from both Rabbi and Rabasi, the famous Rabbi and Rabasi. But depends where he was and how the crowd was. He would say it in different names. It was Rabbi's Talmidim. He would say it in his name. Rabasi's Talmidim this way. If you eat bread without washing your hands, it's as if you were with a zayna. Shenemar ki be'ad isha zayna, because of isha zayna, ad kikar lechem. Omerava, hi be'ad isha zayna, ad kikar lechem. Doesn't make sense. It should say be'ad kikar lechem, because of the bread, ad isha zayna mebarle. It's like you were the zayna because of the bread, not because of the zayna, the bread. Because of the bread, the zayna. That's what you said. It's, if you don't wash your hands, it's like a zayna. Let me tell you pshat in the pasuk. You're right. It starts with the zayna. If you were the zayna, at the end, it's going to come to a point where you're not going to have parnasa. The zayna takes away your parnasa. So the Ben Yoda says that a wife is called lechem. She is the bracha in the house for parnasa. And when a person doesn't treat his wife well, and he looks somewhere else, so it causes a chesar in his parnasa. Omar Rebbe Zrika, Omar Rebbe Lazar. Cholam zalzel b'netil sedayim, nekar min ha'olam. If a person, here, come, where's my, AB, you want to come help him also? Here, come this way, on this side. Yeah, you go on that side also. Yeah. Hold on. You gotta hold this for a second. Let me just say this first. If a person eats bread without washing his hands, nekar min ha'olam, it causes misa. Why? Because Rashi brings, we're talking about Rashi, it's unbelievable. I'm so excited about this. Rashi. Not to put down the Ran or Taisus, but I love Rashi. Anyway, Rashi says that Natil says daim is the Rabbanon. It says in the pasuk, "Va'poretz geder yishchenu nachash." If you break it the Rabbanon, you chayiv misa. And there are people that are nebachnat So Makbid Netilas Yadayim. So I'd like to show you, once we're here, I want to show you something that I noticed many, many times. It's important to the sugi coming up. Something about Netilas Yadayim that I think we should be more makbid on. And that is, I'm going to show you. Here, come. Maybe, you know what? You hold this. All right, here, come. They can see you. Bend down, up, and maybe come. You can take this, and let's see how we're going to wash. Well, let me show you first what I want to do here. Nothing. Really, I don't have to wash my hand. And I don't even have a towel. I don't know. Okay, fine. We'll worry about that differently. But the bottom line is that Netilas Yadayim has to be up to here. Many people that do Netilas Yadayim, it goes up to their, it has to be up to the wrist. We're going to see here in the Gemara, this is where the tumah is, up to the wrist. So the oilam should be makbid from here to here. And on this side, from here to here. And even on the first time, you're going to see, coming up in the sugya, the first time has to be all the way to the wrist because you want to get rid of the tumah immediately. Here, let's go. Let's do it. Now, did I get this part? Yeah. Up to here. Now, what I want to show you here, that's it. Hey, you go back to your seat for a second. You could just say it, but also you have to be madgimit. It has to be live. Up to the wrist. Now, why? Yeah, no. It's going to be, I need some water here. It's good. It's coming up. A Ma'aseh Shahaya with the Chaim, he was in a house. There was a Sotah there, and they were all washing hands. And thank you. And he went into the kitchen, and he comes out, and he washes his hands like with the least water you can imagine, the least. And everybody else they saw the Chavetz Chaim washing with the least water, so they also did. They asked him what's pshat. So he said, I went into the kitchen, and I inquired who brought the water here. You know, they didn't have faucets in those days. Who? And they said, this woman over here who doesn't have a husband, an almana. She says, this almana, her job is to go get water. So on her cheshbon, I'm going to be a big tzaddik and wash my hands with all these the least amount of water possible. So she doesn't have to go schlep water. It's a beautiful thing of caring about another individual. Talking about below niguv, not wiping your hands. Because since it's a disgusting thing to eat bread with wet hands, so it's like tumah. Okay. The continuation of the pasuk. Oh, I skipped big time. Let's go back. I thought I was getting all excited. We're going to finish early today. Now my hands are not wet anymore, so it's not so good. But we'll explain anyway. When you wash your hands, you're supposed to go like this, upwards. In other words, the water should drip downwards past your wrist. Because if it's like this, we're going to have a problem, says the Gemara. Not because it's Yudechem Kodesh. No, a better pshat. And when you wash your hands by Birkas Hamazon, then you go downwards. Why? Listen to this. We wash our hands 2 times on each hand. 2 times. Why? Very, very partial. The first time that you wash your hand, it takes the tumah off your hands, right? We say, in the Rabbanan, our hands are tumah. So the first time, the water goes and makes our hand tar. But the water is tumah. So I have to go a second time. That's why it's not so good to go, 1, 2. 1 time takes the tumah off my hand. 1 time takes it here slow. So, you hear? The second time takes the tumah, the water that's tumah, it takes it off the hand. Now. Are we talking about negavaser? Yeah, we're talking about bread now. Bread, yeah. 2 times. 1, 2. The Vilna Gaon actually says that for Negavas you do 4 times because exactly what you just said. 3 times to take the tum off, but you need the water still tame, so the 4th time takes the tame water off. Okay, that's something else. Let's talk about this. Only 2 times. Listen what happens here. You go like this. 1. And now the water of the tumah, if you go like this, what happens is if it's downwards and you didn't get the whole hand, now the water remains tummy. Now you go like this. You didn't do everything. The water that is tummy will go back, and a part of your hand, if you go like this, so now everything goes down this way. But if you go this way, so now you have a part of your hand that might not have been washed completely, and that will get the second water when you do, and the second water is tamei because you have a part of your hand that it didn't reach, and memela it will be metama the rest of your hand, metama the water, and it's no good. So that's why when you wash your hand, you have to go upwards like this, so everything drips downwards past your wrist. But mayim achronim, the Gemara says, is because your hands are dirty. But your hands are dirty. So you want to get the dirt, the filth, away from you, so you go downwards. We said before, we skipped, so if you eat bread without wiping your hands, you have wet hands, the wet hands creates, it's disgusting, so it's like tumah. Umay ve'shisish neveshikar tatzod Omer B'chia Abba Omer B'chia Kol Adam Sheish B'Gasas HaRuach. Now we're going into a little bit of gaiva. One of the sugyas, I think it was in the advertisement of Sotah, of all the Gishmak sugyas that we have. Gasas HaRuach. A person is haughty, thinks highly of himself. L'B'soif Nichshal B'Shisish. A person like that will at the end stumble with the Aveira B'Shisish. Shneimar B'Shisish Nefesh Yikar Tatzod. The Eishesish, she'll take a good soul, she'll trap him. Amarava, I have a problem with that also. Hi Nefesh Yikara. He's not you're talking about a Gaiva. And you're saying that this pasuk is talking about Gaiva. That's not Gaiva. It should say Nefesh Gavaya, a person who thinks highly of himself, not Nefesh Yikara. It should say she traps him. It doesn't say she traps him, it says Tatzud. Will be trapped. Elomarov, I like my pshat better. If a person is over even if he's a big Talmud Chacham, what does it say about Torah? Torah is worth more than Pninim. Then, how do you say Pninim in English? Pearls. See, pearls goes by the size, not so much weight. Like gold. Gold goes by weight. Pninim goes more like purity, size. So check this out. This is the famous chart that I always use for the Beis Hamikdash. If you look at the Beis Hamikdash, you have this Noshim on the left. You have the Azara halfway through, the halfway line to the right is the Azara with the Mizbeach. And then you have that heavy black with the red arrow over there. That's the Heichal. But where the red arrow is, that's the Kodesh HaKadoshim. That's inside the Heichal, the inner innards. No one ever goes in there, ever. Only the Kohen Gadol and Yom Kippur. That's why we have the Oren. Once in a while, the Gemara tells us that they used to repair the walls there. People would go in a box. They couldn't look. They couldn't see. They would just make a quick repair. But that's the Lefnai. Listen to this. It's unbelievable. A person who learns Torah is on a higher level than the Kohen Gadol that goes into Kodesh HaKadosh and Yom Kippur. Yikari Mipninim, Torah is so chashav. Mi Kohen Gadol shenichnas lefnai v'lefnim. Greater than the Kohen Gadol sitting and learning the daf, has a bigger schos than the Kohen Gadol who goes into the Kodesh HaKadoshim and Yom Kippur. Yet, person who's over on Eshesish, all the Torah that he learned is not going to help him to get out of the Gehenna. I think there's an important thesis here, because unfortunately, one of my good friends told me that he was nichshal in this, and they went to Rabbanim, and they told him about this thesis over here. People should be aware of this. The second thesis, the bottom thesis. If a person is over an eshesish to the point where she becomes also to her husband has to divorce her, nitraz min ha'olam, he will get the death penalty. Because that's kasha. Wait a minute, says Taisus. He will have olam haba, says Taisus. The bottom line is, the Rabbanim told him he has to do tshuva, and he's in fact in a process of tshuva for many years already. Doing tshuva, he does a lot of stuff that the Rabbanim told him to do, because tshuva is mechaper for everything. And Torah, by the way, as everybody says, the Legain and the Men, Torah is the biggest kapara for that avera. Says the Gemara, a person has haughtiness, it's like doing avodah zarah. Happens to be that we're coming into Pesach now, so matzah, the mitzvah matzah reminds us of another, because matzah is made out of literally 2 ingredients. It's very thin. It doesn't have any haughtiness. It doesn't have. It's a symbol of another. Although Bizman Hazeh, even that symbol is erased a little bit, because my matzah is thinner and better tasting than your matzah, etc. Okay, you can throw in some gaiv into the matzah too. Huh? Svardim. Not all Svardim eat that stuff.
No.
Yeah. Zog the Gemara. Avodah zarah. Person that has holiness is as if he's a kaifer. You'll have holiness in your heart, and then you'll forget Hashem. The avera of holiness is like being over in a rayas. Gotta show you my favorite picture of Mesachtes Nedarim. People ask me what it is. I love this one. It's 2 guys playing tennis on an MDY court, and then there's a little bit of a bama in the backyard that he parked his Tesla on the ramp. Kilu bana bama. Shiremar chidlu lochem in ha'adam asher neshama ba'apoy ki v'ameh nechshavu atigim v'ameh el bama. Says more my yod liyod lo yinoke. What is pshat in the pasuk? Hand to hand is not going to be clean. Omar Rav kolabali shesish. If a person is over an shesish, I feel like Kodesh Baruch Hu Shemayim va'aretz Avram Avinu. Even if he's like Avram Avinu, who said to Hashem, "You created Shemayim va'aretz." He declared to Hashem, he's the biggest oived and everything. The Chsiv Bey. I remember he yodi El Hashem El Elyon Kodesh Shemayim va'aretz. You're not going to get away from Ganem. Says the Gemara, Reb Yisroel, Hayod liyod le'yanaka. Yod liyod is not good. Yodim mevarle. Elam the Reb Yisroel, because if you're going to go by the pasuk, I remember yodi, so it should be yodi, not yod liyod. Elam the Reb Yisroel, afilu kibul Torah k'mosh Rabbeinu. Even if he accepted the Torah directly from Kodesh Baruch Hu, from Hashem's hand to his hand, Kaviyach. The Chsiv Bey mi'imino yesh l'slama. Doesn't matter who you are. Even if you receive the Torah from Hashem directly and you're over an Eshesish, it's bad news. From my hand to your hand, even though I received the Torah from Hashem's hand, from his hand, not to his hand. It's not to Hashem's hand, it's from Hashem's hand. On top of that, Amud Aleph, I realize it's tzedakah b'seiser, even in big tzaddik, the biggest, highest level of tzedakah. The chsiv, like our good friend Menachem Toporowitz, gave all that tzedakah Not a single person knew about it. I mean, not a single. Yossi Klein didn't know what he looked like, and he spoke to him every single day. And they lived in the same city. I met him. He never said, when I spoke to him, he never said, hey, I'm the guy that just gave $40,000 to MDY. Never said it. Never said a word. I'm the guy that sponsored Nazir. I'm the guy. Didn't say it to me. Tzedakah b'seiser. Yichbe'af. Even though he's doing tremendous mitzvahs, he's giving all this tzedakah, and nobody knows about it, but he's over and it's just Rabbi Sai. Have a wonderful day.